Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a highly critical update for the second week of July 2026, looking squarely at the global market update and strategic forecast for acrylonitrile butadiene styrene, or as we all know and love it, ABS. Look, if you're managing supply chains, monitoring feedstock costs, or running operations that rely heavily on this essential polymer, you know that timing is absolutely everything. The landscape right now is flashing some very important signals, and we're going to unpack exactly what they mean for your bottom line. To bring you this level of granular insight, we're relying on the definitive industry authority, Polymer Bazaar. Their core focus is price, prediction, profit, and they provide the most comprehensive snapshots of the ABS market out there. This gives us the hard data we need to make informed strategic decisions. We're taking their latest weekly report and breaking the whole thing down so you can clearly see the underlying trends driving the market today. So here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, a global ABS market roundup. Number 2, Indian domestic market highlights. And number 3, our strategic purchase recommendation.
Let's dive right into Section 1, Global ABS Market Roundup.
Starting over in the US Bazaar, the magic number to watch right now is 85 cents per pound. What we saw this week was a slight but definitely notable improvement in buying momentum. It wasn't exactly a massive surge, but this subtle demand lift was just enough to nudge market prices up by 2 cents. So it shows a market with a gentle upward pulse, finding its footing and pushing the price point right to that 85 cents per pound mark.
Now, in sharp contrast, let's cross the Atlantic over to the European Bazaar. The key figure here is 2,000 euros per metric ton. Over there, availability is a complete non-issue. The retail channels are sitting on some really well-stocked inventories. But here's the catch. Overall demand is incredibly dull right now. Because of the stagnation, we actually saw free-delivered Northwest Europe prices get dragged down by a very substantial 200 euros. That's a huge drop, closing out the week right at that 2,000 euro benchmark. Moving over to Asia to complete our global picture, trading in China remained deeply sluggish. Converters are showing very little buying interest at the moment. Instead of stocking up, they're sticking strictly to hand-to-mouth, need-based buying. They are literally only taking exactly what they need to keep the lights on for immediate operations. As a result of this extreme caution, spot prices in the Chinese market wrapped up at 9,500 RMB per metric ton. Real quick, before we pivot to the domestic front, if you want these ABS updates zapped directly to your phone, you can get them via WhatsApp. Just send the word ABS to +91 93746 24365, and an AI chatbot is going to send you automated updates in seconds. It's honestly a fantastic way to stay connected to the data without missing a single beat. All right, moving right along to Section 2, Indian domestic market highlights. The crucial baseline comparison this week is between overseas and domestic offers. Import quotes for July 2026 ABS cargoes are holding remarkably steady. They are totally flat at approximately $1,580 per metric ton on a CIF India basis, literally no variance from previous levels. And when we look at the domestic side, well, prices remain completely unchanged this week as well. Local producers have held their ground, opting not to announce any fresh pricing changes following the declines we tracked last week. So we're essentially looking at a flat line on both fronts. But hey, a flat price doesn't necessarily mean a healthy market, right? The buying pulse in India can only be described as subdued. Why? Well, downstream demand has severely slowed down. Processors across the country are facing a very real struggle. They just aren't seeing any meaningful improvement in their finished product sales. And look, when finished goods aren't moving off the shelves, that directly erodes the buying mindset of converters upstream. So, just like we saw in China, Indian converters are keeping their raw material procurement restricted to the absolute minimum. Which brings us to our final segment, Section 3, Strategic Purchase Recommendation. To really get why we're making this recommendation, you have to look at the hidden, looming macroeconomic threats. Sure, current domestic demand feels quiet right now, but the underlying global landscape is a total pressure cooker. Step 1, we're dealing with elevated crude oil prices. Step 2, we're seeing rising styrene monomer feedstock costs. And Step 3, we have highly unpredictable volatility ongoing in the Middle East. All of these factors combined are placing intense, unrelenting upward pressure on raw material expenses, regardless of how quiet local demand seems today. Because of all that immense upward pressure, here is the definitive conclusion from Polymer Bazaar. I'll read it directly for you.
Secure your essential polymer inventory at current market levels rather than waiting. Even though it's so tempting to wait out a quiet market, the raw material fundamentals are literally shifting under our feet. The recommendation is crystal clear. Act now to lock in these flat prices before those macro threats inevitably spill over into domestic cost spikes. I really want you to think about your current inventory strategy as we head into the weekend. We have to keep a very close watch on these global events and ensure essential inventory is secured before those global pressures force a localized reaction. Ask yourself, is your business actually shielded from a sudden cost spike?
If you're looking for specific buying or selling leads, Polymer Bazaar has relationship managers ready to help at +91 7984 024 365, and you can download the full PDF report at the link on your screen. But before we wrap up today, I'll leave you with this. If styrene costs force a sudden price revision on Monday morning, are your operations truly protected? Thanks so much for joining today's explainer, everyone. Keep learning, stay prepared, and we'll see you in our next update.